Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a little bit of a different video today. It is Saturday, March the 14th, I believe. No, 18th? 18th? And I have watched a few creators kind of go before me and do a get to know me kind of video and just share some things that you might know about me, some things that you might not know about me. And so I thought I would do that today. So it's really hard to do, you guys. It's super intimidating. It is difficult to do YouTube videos anyway because you're on, like you are on, and we worry about things like, oh, how long is it taking? Are people going to get bored? Are they going to like the content? Is my video too short? Is my video too long? All of those things. And so it takes a lot of courage to do this, to do videos in the first place, let alone a face-to-face. So, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because it is actually in line with one of my fundamental beliefs, which is show up and let yourself be seen. Show up and take the risk. Show up and fall on your face sometimes, but show up. Be who you are and show up. So I love to listen to Brene Brown's audiobooks and such, and she talks a lot about the quote by Theodore Roosevelt called "The Man in the Arena," and I want to read it to you really quick because it is a fundamental belief for me. It's a core belief. It's a core motivator in my life, not only in my YouTube channel and my creative journey, but also my healing journey that came before all of this. So it says, "The man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcomings, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who never know victory nor defeat." So as I read that, I don't mean, especially that last part that says, cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. That's really not the focus. The focus is on being brave, doing the unthinkable, putting yourself out there, sharing who you are, sharing your inspiration, sharing your authenticity, sharing your humanity it's a gift to the human race, in my opinion. I talk a lot on my channel about how perfection is not at play in my studio. And even though my studio itself physically is pristine, it's the way that I work, it's the way that I thrive in my creative processes, though, perfection is not at play in the studio. That gives us permission to show up. It gives us permission to be who we are. It gives us permission to fail. It gives us permission to learn, because it is in the failing, and I use that word lightly because I don't think there's really a failure in art. There's only learning. And so that is my that is my inspiration. And that is not my first source of inspiration by any means, but it is one of the biggest right now. The other is I am a follower of Jesus, so my faith is very, very important to me. It's an authentic part of who I am. It's an authentic part of how I live my life, how I interact with other people, how I give to other people. Jesus has been my anchor and my stronghold and my everything for my entire life, and has saved me thousands of times when I didn't think I could make it, when I didn't think I could make it through another day, through another memory, through another whatever. So that leads me into talking about kind of how I started. So let me tell you a little bit about myself first, and then we'll talk a little bit about some other fun facts. So the channel name. So my channel name is B.Reborn Art and Healing. And that's kind of a long story because the name that I go by, not legally, but the name I go by in my life for the most part is Cara-Renee. So it's a hyphenated name, Cara-Renee. My birth name is Renee. And I love that name because it means reborn. It's a beautiful name, and it has French origins, which is very dear to my heart for many, many reasons. But as I was moving through my healing journey, which started about 34 years ago, I entered into counseling for healing from childhood trauma and how I coped with that and all of that. But we're not going to go into that. But that's just a little piece of me. So about 12 or 13 years ago, I was really kind of struggling with my identity. Like, who am I? Who am I outside of what happened to me? And the Lord spoke to me, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and gave me the name Cara. And Cara in combination with Renee. So Cara means beloved and Renee means reborn. So when you put them together, they mean beloved reborn. So very, very meaningful for me. But when I created the channel, it was like, I'm not going to put beloved reborn. So I shortened that to B.Reborn Art and Healing. So B period Reborn Art and Healing. So that's how I got my channel name. And it encapsulates so much of what I believe and why I do what I do. So that is a little bit of the story there. So that's how I got the name. And as I mentioned, I am a survivor. I'm not going to go into that because it's not pertinent. I talk around it a lot in my blog and in my tutorials and in my Sunday's Art of Truth and things like that. I always reference it because it is a part of my history, and it's a part of how I am who I am today, and I'm grateful for that. I am very, very grateful for that. So let's see what else. I am over 50 years old, but not quite 60. So I am actually 57. But I will say I have two older sisters. And I always let them know that they are older than me and that I'm the younger one. 57 feels pretty good. I'm not in the best health, working on that, but loving my life. I am a paraeducator. I work with special education kids in an elementary school in a neighboring county. Not super close to where I live, but my daughters are both teachers in that district. So it's kind of what led me there. Prior to this job, my career was in payroll and finance. So I stepped out of that career after about 18 years and kind of jumped off of a cliff, and economically, emotionally, in every way, because the job was crushing me. It was sucking all of the life out of me, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I quit. I resigned from my job, and I started volunteering in my daughter's kindergarten class at school because I was like, oh, let me see if I even want to be with hundreds and hundreds of children in a building every day. And I fell in love. And then I applied and started becoming a substitute paraeducator. And my first sub job in the school was in the special education preschool. And it captured my heart. Like, I had no doubt about where I needed to be, when it wanted to be. And so that's what I do. It's a great job. It's doesn't pay very well, but we've been very blessed, and so we're able to make that work. And my well-being is very grateful. So that's what I do for a job, and I work only about 6.5 hours a day, which is really nice. I have a little bit of a longer commute, but I love that, and I love that I mean, in payroll and finance, I got to make sure people were paid correctly, and I thrived in that environment. I thrived in this success. I thrived in, I was a trainer. I was kind of like, I always wanted to take the lead because I love to teach and I love to share knowledge and things like that. So I thrived in that job, but it just took my life away. So I am married to my husband, Tim, and we have been married, it will be 40 years in July. I know, hard to believe, right? How can I be married 40 years? I'm 57. I'll be 58 in May. And I call him, respectively, my knight in tarnished armor. And that's because he rescued me when I was 15 years old. God sent him into my life and he rescued me. And if you want to read the story about how we met, it is over on my blog, and I will try to remember to link it in the video description in case you want to check it out. It's a really sweet story. It's called Divine Interventions or Divine Intersections. Can't remember which one. It's been a while since I wrote it, but he has been my strength and my anchor, and my just has never wavered. He stood by me through some of the hardest times. And so that's my man, Tim. And we have 3 kids. They are all in their mid to upper 30s. And 2 of them are married, and one is going through a transition in her relationship. So she has her beautiful significant other, and they will be getting married in the summer. And they have 7, between the 3 of them, we have 7 grandchildren, ranging from 6 to 16. So we have 5 grandsons and 2 granddaughters. And really, really blessed. Really blessed. And so my girls and their families live close by. My son lives a little bit farther away. But let's see. I already shared with you one of my core beliefs. Well, 2 of my core beliefs. I'm a Jesus follower. My faith is very important to me, and it's hard to not have that bleed out into my work. And I am unapologetic about that. It's who I am, and it's why I am, and why I am still here, to be quite honest. So, and then again, the showing up. So I have where I started. So I've been a crafter, probably since since I got married, probably. I don't even know. Maybe I created before that. I don't know. I don't have a lot of memories younger than that. But I sewed when my kids were little. I did general crafts. I did scrapbooking and such. And then about 6 years ago, I fell in love with watercolor. And I don't do watercolor on my channel because it's super intimidating. For one thing, it's hard to make a short video when you're watercoloring unless you're doing a stamped image or something like that, which I've done, or I've done mixed media journal pages using watercolor techniques. But it's one of those things that I do when I'm on vacation, or I just really need to recharge my creativity. I will sit down and do watercolor. I am going to brave it, and I'm going to do one on camera here shortly on the channel, because I sat down and did it last night, and it was so relaxing to just sit and just watercolor again. So that was my first love, was watercolor 6 years ago. And then about not even 2 years ago, I stumbled into junk journaling, and I absolutely love it because I get to incorporate watercolor, mixed media, and all of the beauty of all of that into journal making, which I absolutely love. I don't do a lot of technical junk journaling because I don't have a lot of junk. I use a lot of recycled material, but I use a lot of digital kits because I don't have a lot of my own authentic vintage ephemera, and things like that. So I try not to get hung up on the name. The important part is that we're creating, in my opinion. So I love what I do. I love having a channel. I love meeting new people, even though I will never meet them. Technically, I'll never meet people face to face, but being able to get to know people either through Facebook or the channel or my blog is really beautiful. And I think that we still have a lot of ability to influence, impact, inspire one another, even if we never meet. And I've got people in the UK and China and Poland, and I mean just everywhere. So it's a far-reaching audience, which is really beautiful. I don't sell my work. I sold my first journal recently, but I'm not too certain that I'm thrilled with that, because I don't need to sell my work. So I'm still kind of up in the air about what the future of my work is. But I might sell from time to time, but I do enjoy giving away on my channel and doing drawings and such like that. So what else? Let's see. Fun fact, I don't like to cook. I can cook. I'm a pretty good cook, but I don't enjoy it. And I think part of that is just that, the kids are all grown up and it's just my husband and I, and it's just not my favorite thing. And that's okay too. I do cook. I do feed my husband and myself, but it's not my favorite thing to do. And so yeah. I'm an inside girl. My happiest place is in my studio, and when we were raising our kids, we spent a lot of time outside, hiking, camping, exploring, those things. But now that they're grown and we do those things together, not as much as we used to, because now all the grandkids are getting big and they're in sports, and there's just not a lot of time anymore. But I prefer to be inside. I love to sit in my studio. I have a window right there, and I love to sit in here and have the sun pour in from outside. And we're actually getting central air and heating in our house after being married 40 years, for almost 40 years, and we are getting central heating and air conditioning here in a few weeks. And so I have an air conditioner that blocks a lot of my window, and so that'll be coming out, and I'm super excited about that. We're both super excited about being able to look out our front window and actually see outside, because we have a window air conditioner in our living window too. So that's just a little bit there. And what else can I tell you? I think that's probably really about it. I do want to say that I am so grateful for every single one of you. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you show up, that you watch, that you encourage, that you comment, that you give feedback, that you are inspired, and that you try the things that you see, which I think is really, really beautiful. I just I almost do a happy dance every time I get a comment where somebody else say, I tried that and it was fantastic, or I'm going to try that, I can't wait, and those things. So I just think it's a really beautiful thing to be able to be in relationship with one another, no matter what form that takes. And again, just putting ourselves out there and being who we are. Being who we are is all that we have. If we're not authentic and showing up, then, what are we here for, I guess, is my point. So I encourage you to be you. Show up, be brave, create, do something different, reach out, talk to a stranger, write a poem, just be in the moment and live in the moment, and just enjoy your beautiful life. So I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.